I'm starting with what is admittedly a pretty crappy story. So a couple in Austin, they had a big problem. Somebody kept coming and stealing the packages off their porch. It wasn't just them, it was happening all over their neighborhood. Ooh. So one day they thought, I'm gonna get back at these people. And they put out a box of dirty diapers. So
Ew.
they see not long after, they come back with the box, open up the diapers, and spread the contents all over their front door.
Oh, no.
Then it gets worse. They came back about half an hour later with a bunch of cow manure, which they spread all over the porch, rubbed all over their cars.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Then they called the police. Now there's a detective working on the case. You want to hear a poop joke?
Sure.
Never mind, it stinks.
Oh.
On that classy note, welcome to Tech Refresh. I'm Allie, Komando.com content queen, filling in for Kim Komando. As always, I'm here with Matt, our magnificent millennial, our trusty internet scout. Matt, what do you have for us today?
Today I'll be talking about NASA's impact with an asteroid, the best streaming services for all your sports, and some millennial thoughts.
Millennial thoughts. Look
Millennial
at that.
thoughts.
All right. I am going to talk about maybe finally an end to all those spam texts.
Oof.
I have also got a good tip for you, inspired by one of our listeners. All right. Today's show is a little different than normal. Yes, Kim is not here, but also we're taking a break from trivia because Matt sadly just lost our big contest.
Yes.
I feel like you need a week to just process that you're going to have to eat those olives.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, Matt lost. If you missed, the last however many tech refreshes, Matt lost our trivia contest. His buoy prize, he has to eat an entire can of olives with the liquid. Doesn't sound that bad to me. Matt hates olives, so yeah. You should see his face right now.
Yeah.
I'm also excited because you have a riddle for us today.
I do.
Which is a nice change. All right, that's coming up soon. And a little bit later, we have a special guest. I'm sure you've heard his name on Kim's national radio show. His name is Rico. He is a digital forensics expert. He deals with scammers, malware, ransomware, every kind of ware out there. And he has a pretty wild story to share with us. First, though, we've got the news. And Matt, I'm so excited. The spaceman is back.
Yes, I am very excited. This is a really cool story. Do you remember the movie Armageddon? There's an asteroid hurling towards Earth and they send up astronauts to blow it up before it impacts the Earth and kills everybody, right?
I just think of Aerosmith, but yes.
Yes, of course. Well, they are testing that in real life. This is called the DART mission, or the Double Asteroid Redirection Test. And this is going to be pretty science heavy, so let's stay with me here.
Okay.
Basically what happened was they wanted to test if they were able to crash a satellite into a meteorite, would it change its trajectory?
They being NASA, right? Not just some random guys.
No, it wasn't just some guys in the backyard. It was NASA, right? So the plan was that they would send this tiny, it's about the size of a golf cart. It weighs 1,300 pounds, and they were going to send it on this 10-month mission towards the asteroid Dimorphos. And this is a double asteroid. It's a single asteroid that rotates around another one, right? And so it was smaller, gave them the opportunity to try to hit it because it was so small. They can test out this theory.
This wasn't like actually hurtling toward Earth, right?
No, this is a
out
test.
there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
It is 7 million miles away from the Earth.
Just a bit of a detour.
Right. And it was its closest crossing to Earth in 58 years, so it won't come this close to Earth for another 58 years. So this is their opportunity to test it out, and this is the perfect one. So like I said, it was the size of a golf cart, weighed 1,300 pounds, and when it collided with the asteroid, it was going 1,400 miles per hour.
Wow.
So that's pretty fast. And the
1,400 or 14,000?
14,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
14,000 miles per hour. Now, this mission cost $325 million to complete. When it was first projected back in 2006, it was said that it was cost $125 million. So it was triple the cost, right? Now, the mission went perfectly. They had 21 contingency plans that they didn't have to use. They didn't have any problems. The big thing is, at the very end, there were photos taken afterwards, and there's a sizable crater where it impacted, but they're not quite sure if they succeeded, if they will be able to actually change the trajectory of the asteroid. So it'll take some time to see. Okay,
so the point was we're going to send this golf cart, essentially. We're going to send it at this asteroid to see if we can knock it off course.
Correct.
My first question is, not really a question, but doesn't that seem small? But I guess that's the whole point, right? Like, how small of a thing can we send at an asteroid?
Right. The idea is that if you can hit it far enough away from Earth and just barely nudge it, then it will change the trajectory completely and get it off course to collide with Earth.
Gotcha, because the distance is just so far.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, when and how can they even tell if this was successful?
NASA actually is tracking over 5 million asteroids at any given time, and they have over 300 asteroids that they watch very closely that could impact with Earth. So they are studying things that are 5, 10, 15, 25 years out to make sure that they can predict these things.
That's when we see those headlines that are like, massive asteroid on target for Earth. And then,
right.
The next day it's like, it missed us again.
Yeah. Oh, lucky us. Yeah, they know what's going to happen.
I don't think this new idea of playing darts in space is going to work.
Why not?
There's just no atmosphere.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Kim. That was for you. Okay, my turn. Spam texts. I get a lot of them. Do you?
Of course, like 4 a day at least.
Yeah. Most end up in my spam folder, which is nice. Like they pop up for a second and then they just go to spam. And maybe you, like me, have wondered, why isn't anybody doing anything about this?
Right.
We always hear about robocalls, but finally they are. And they, in this case, is the FCC. So reports of spam texts are way up every year. It's just exponentially up, right? Mm-hmm. And the clever ones can actually cost you a lot of money. It's not just annoying. It's like, these are really harmful. Numbers from 2020 say that Americans lost $86 million to spam text messages.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of money. And finally, the FCC is going to start cracking down on these, just like robocalls. And yes, you may be saying, all right, all they've done for robocalls, I still get robocalls. And that's true. But there aren't as many and, a lot more I at least see on my phone all the time. At least it pops up with scam likely.
Yeah, sure.
Instead of actually getting through to me. The FCC has a few ideas about how to stop all these text messages. And one is actually requiring cell phone providers to block texts from numbers that they've marked as illegal or fraudulent just at the carrier level so that they never get to your phone in the first place, which sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Not having to opt in or out. And yes, again, you're thinking, we all hate spam text. So why hasn't this stopped? Why hasn't a law been passed? Why hasn't something been done to stop this sooner?
Yeah.
You can guess if you think about it. Elected officials, they don't want to vote on this because they want to be able to text you too.
Sure.
And they don't want to get sued for it. There's a lawyer. Her name is Margot Sanders. She works for the National Consumer Law Center. And she said, yeah, politicians themselves want to be able to send these texts without being sued.
Of course. The only thing I get more than spam texts are political texts. So.
There you go. Well, at least we've got the FCC on our side for this one. Just like with robocalls, though, it's going to be a long process. And there are many steps to the process. And yes, I know, it's a little bit of a bummer because it's going to take time for us to see what actually comes from this. So let's pivot. Let's do something fun. Matt, you have a riddle for us.
I do. This is a really good one. Okay. What is seen in the middle of March and April that can't be seen at the end of either month? I'll do it one more time. What is seen in the middle of March and April that can't be seen at the beginning or end of either month? So we'll give you the answer at the end of the podcast.
Oh, okay. My brain's going to be ticking. You'll have to remind us of it later, too.
All right.
Okay. After the break, we have some tech tips to make your life better. I'm going to tell you how to get your address and your phone number off of the internet. And Matt has the answer if you are the person that hasn't given up cable yet because you're a sports fan. A little bit later, we have Rico Danielson on to talk to us about just an absolutely wild LinkedIn scam that I think everybody should be warned about. Stay right where you are. Welcome back to Tech Refresh, your fun show about all things digital. One thing I really love is hearing from you. Yes, you listening. This is a note we got from Pam. I love all your podcasts and newsletters. Thanks to Allie, I closed 67 tabs on my Chrome browser.
Oh,
Kim, I've been listening since 2007. You've taught me everything I know. Thanks for reaching out, Pam. After you sent that, so this was a tip I shared on Tech Refresh a few weeks ago, I think, about how to close all the tabs on your phone. Yeah. We think about it for our computer, but your phone. So I followed my own advice. I'm a little embarrassed. Matt, how many tabs do you think I had open this time?
Oh, I'm going to go with 9.
Oh.
Is that too low?
115.
115 on your phone?
On my phone.
Wow.
Yeah. So I closed all those out.
Good.
Closing them one by one is a nightmare. So a little reminder, if you missed it, you have an Android, you can actually just say, close all my tabs to Google Assistant, and then you just push one button and they're gone, which is great. If you have an iPhone, in Safari, there's a little three-dot menu up in the corner. You click that, and then you can click close all tabs. So if it's been a long time, if you have more than 9 tabs open, go and do that. And by the way, if you want to share something with us, you can email us at podcasts, with an S, podcasts@komando.com. Matt, your tip today is a really smart one because we hear from people all the time who say, I would give up cable, but I love basketball or I love football or, how am I going to watch my sports?
Yeah, it's always been that thing that people hold on to that, everybody's moving over to streaming, but some people hold on to their cable just because they really want to keep watching sports, and there really wasn't another way to do that. Well, that has kind of changed recently, especially because this year, Amazon acquired the rights to Thursday Night Football. So now, if you have cable and you don't have Amazon Prime, you can't watch Thursday Night Football. That's the only place to watch Thursday Night Football.
Oh, I didn't know
now.
It was exclusive.
It is exclusive to Amazon Prime.
Wow.
So that's a big deal, and everybody's been saying it's going to be switching that direction in the near future. So if you're dragging your feet saying, I've been holding on to cable just because I really, really like my sports, well, there are some options for you that can help. Now, number one, like I said, Amazon Prime has Thursday Night Football. They will have that all season. I don't know how long their contract goes. I believe it goes for another 2 seasons, but that's the exclusive way to watch that. Now, Monday Night Football is on ESPN, and if you have cable, you can still get that. But if you are only interested in Monday Night Football for some reason, maybe it's just the one that you like, you could get the Disney Plus, ESPN Plus bundle, and that way you can watch that Monday Night Football game. Now, if you're wanting to watch every game and you're interested in football, one of the best ones is YouTube TV. This is what I use to watch my football and my sports. They have all in-market games. So if you're a Cardinals fan or if you're a Cowboys fan, Giants fan, they will always have that game for you on YouTube TV, as well as at least 2 other games that would be on normal cable. The other big side is that they also include the NFL Red Zone, which allows you to switch between all the different games going on and watch them all at once. So that's really nice.
Man, that's kind of annoying if you're a football fan to have different places to go for Thursday, Monday, and then the rest of the games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, all these streaming services make it really difficult because they want to nickel and dime you. They want everybody to have 17 streaming services and it to cost buku bucks, right?
Well, and YouTube TV it's pretty expensive, right?
Yeah, YouTube TV starts at $65.
Oh.
Now, if you want to do premium stuff, it's going to go up from there, but that's the base price. Now, they say, you can get 3 months starting at $55, $10 off. But, in the end, it's $65 to pay for YouTube TV. Okay. Now, there are some other options that you could go. You do have Sling TV, but this gets even more complicated. So Sling TV has 3 different packages. One of those doesn't even include sports at all. And then the other one, there's the blue package, which is just NCAA football, no NFL.
Great.
And then there's the black package, which is just NFL, no NCAA basketball. So if you're interested in both college and the NFL, you got to buy 2 packages, each of which are $35 a month.
Okay, so we're going to go YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube TV. And now if you're into other sports, of course, there's sports other than football, hockey, baseball, basketball. One of the best ones is called Bally's Sports. Now, each individual city has their own Bally's Sports station, and they have their own Bally's Sports Plus, which allows you to watch any of those local games for those sports, and that's $25 a month. And that's not too bad if you're really into those. Now, some of them will be blacked out if they have specific contracts with a higher caliber. So like if it's going to be on Fox or it's going to be on NBC, it won't be on Bally's. And so you won't be able to stream it through those apps.
Man, okay. We're going to have to get a list up on Komando.com of all the ways to watch your sports on streaming. I'm really excited. Hockey season is almost here.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait. I'm a hockey fan. You are too.
I am.
Why do Canadians always beat Germans at hockey?
Oh.
Canadians bring their A game, and Germans bring their worst.
Ooh, that's a good one with the doubleheader.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. Okay, my tip today is one to actually help you keep your personal details personal. There is so much info about you floating around online, and I know that without having to Google you because it's true for all of us. That's why we have a series going on Komando.com called Opt Out Tuesday. Yes, we have talked about it before, but if you haven't gone and checked it out, you really, really should. So these data broker sites, in order to stay in business, they have to give you a way to opt out. Now, these are the sites that have, every address you've ever lived at, every phone number you've ever had. They probably have your mom and, all of your relatives and people that your connections. And that's just creepy, right?
Yeah,
Having
for
all
sure.
that stuff out there. So we have this series that's been running, and every single Tuesday we put out a new article with the complete steps of how to get yourself off of one of these sites, because they make it tricky. Sometimes you have to fill out a form, you have to send an email, you have to follow up in all these different ways. There used to be one you could only get out of it if you sent them a letter in the mail. Now they have a digital option, but they make it hard. So go over to Komando.com, search for Opt Out Tuesday, and we have 20 of these up right now. 20 sounds like a lot. You don't have to do them all. I really think, just go do a couple and you're going to be better off. A couple of the big ones I think you should do. Been verified. That is a big one. And they actually control a bunch of the other people search sites. So if you do that one, you're going to get yourself off of the other sites as well. So go to Komando.com, search for Been Verified. And if that's all you do, you're going to be a little safer online. Stick around. We have got our buddy Rico up next to tell us about this crazy LinkedIn scam. And don't forget the answer to Matt's riddle. All that and more coming up on Tech Refresh. All right, welcome back to Tech Refresh. We have a really special guest today. He's a friend of the show. His name is Rico Danielson. You might have heard him on Kim's show before. And he is a digital forensics expert, which sounds very fancy. Rico, when you talk to people who don't know anything about tech, how do you describe what you do?
So basically, if there's a crime that happened or an incident that happens, we are the first person and the last person you call. We show up, we're the first to go, last to know, and we're your first responder. We jump in there and we just put the whole puzzle piece together. We make sense of what happened, and we make sense of a mess, and we just try to help you pave a path forward. So.
Yeah. Well, so me and you were emailing back and forth when we were talking about you coming on the show, and you started to tell me about the craziest thing you've been dealing with lately. So you said LinkedIn romance scam, and immediately my brain went like, LinkedIn romance? Yes, I know job scams on LinkedIn and lots of other scams, but how did this one land on your plate?
Yeah. So, I had been doing a lot of, social media investigations, a lot of social media forensics, spoofing, smurfing and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, so let's take a look here.
Smurfing?
Smurfing.
Yeah. So you have smurfing, right, which is the identity of using something else. And then muling, which is basically you have a mule that takes you through the cyber program or the cyber whatever it is. So you have different things that actually quantify and qualify you getting through the as it's called the attack kill chain process. So
Okay.
It really depends how you get through it. Yeah. So if I lose y'all, I truly apologize.
No. Smurfing is a new term to me, and I bet to all our friends listening. All right. So what happened? You got an email from somebody, or they reached out?
So I got reached out by somebody. It was a very, very high level, sophisticated executive, right? Somebody with 3 letters behind their name, CFO. And it was a female, and this person called me and was like, "Hey Rico, I'm in a pretty bad spot. I need some help here. Can you help me get in the right direction?" And as we started diving into it, there was this person had been reached out by a threat actor on LinkedIn, and this threat actor was, come to find out, was notorious, and actually their MO was to target executive level women who were CFOs, CEOs, senior executive council, board members, and stuff like that. And this person, this threat actor, which wound up being in Hungary and Bulgaria, had a very, very good knack of developing relationships like, "Hey, honey, how are you? I love you. You look beautiful," and just kind of placated, not necessarily the weaknesses, but more so the insecurities, some of us do have. Yeah. And what wound up happening is this person wound up getting kind of entangled. And mind you, this was over a year process.
Wow. Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning. So how did this start? I can't imagine it starts on LinkedIn like a dating app where it's like, "Hey, baby, let's get together." Does it really?
Yeah. So This person said, "Hey, I love this." This is the original message.
Yeah.
"You're such a brilliant and amazing thought leader." That's how it started.
Sounds very LinkedIn, thought leader.
Yep. And then it was, "Hey, you are beautiful and brilliant." And then this is like just months of just compound interest, right? And then all of a sudden it was a matter of, "Hey, do you want to meet, or do you want to virtually meet?" And they were like, "No, I can't do that." And then it progressed into, "Hey, can I have your email?" And then that's the worst thing you could do, is give your personal email out, right?
Right.
And then it wound up into like, then the threat actor actually started traversing to figure out where the business demarc was, which is, where's her business connection, and then started figuring out, okay, she's with this, mortgage firm, right? I'm going to go ahead and start targeting that. And so simultaneously, this threat actor was actually hitting her up and the financial firm up, trying to, penetrate the financial firm.
Wow.
And then also, penetrate her personal business.
Right.
So that's how it started. Yeah.
Wow. So by the time she got to you, she was in a rough place. So what was going on?
Yeah. So by the time she got to me, she actually committed 2 acts of service, if you will. And I don't want to call them criminal, acts of criminology or anything like that. But unfortunately, it was, hey, can you go cash this check for me?
Oh.
Right? That was act number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's money laundering, if you will.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you get caught in these check scams or whatever. And then she was being used as a mule to do prepaid vanilla credit cards to actually do some transactions and whatnot. And she thought she was doing that out of love, unfortunately. And then she got conned into sending naked photos.
Oh no.
No.
Okay. And so that's when she reached out to you, like, okay, I'm in hot water here.
Well, not there. At that point, the threat actor said, hey, I want you to do one more thing for me. And she said no. She's like, I want to meet you. I want to see you. And the threat actor, through this this diversionary tactic, said, oh, I'm in Turkish jail, and sent this beautiful Turkish letter via email. And so that was actually great to us. And I'm like, hey, actually, I've been to Turkey. I actually know the incarceration system over there very well, because you work with programs over there and like Interpol.
Yeah.
And so one of 2 things, I reached out to a Turkish police friend of mine, and I was like, hey, is this yours? And he said no.
Look at those connections, just reaching out to Turkish police. No big deal.
Yep. And then the other part was doing the forensics on the PDF itself. And, we were able to digitally pull apart these different type of pictures on the PDF, the signature block, the name. We were actually reverse engineered the name that actually was somebody's real name. It was a dead person's name in Bulgaria. And then on top of that, we're actually able to find the metadata and also the IP addresses and the coordinate locations within the pictures that they were pulled from.
Wow. That's incredible. There's so many little clues left behind that even people doing these really sophisticated scams just don't know, right? Or they don't realize or think, yeah, this lady's never going to be able to figure it out.
Right, exactly. It's quite fascinating. And then the sad part is, this is not the first one, and that was not the last one. It actually happened to multiple people. Maybe 4 more unfortunate ladies that were targeted.
We hear all the time, and we say all the time, anybody can fall for this stuff. And of course, people say, oh, not me, I never could. But I think this is a really good example where, this isn't somebody who probably gets the wool pulled over her eyes often. This is a smart, educated, successful person. And she got fooled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this happens more often than not. Anywhere from sophisticated people all the way to highly educated people, all the way to people who just in a bind. And what these threat actors know, remember, threat acting and being a hacker, being a hacktivist, and just basically a bad person, this is your job. This is your job to figure out vulnerabilities and exploit those and gain it for profiteering and money.
Yeah.
The threat acting community in the business is a $12 billion business. That means invoicing scams, romance scams, credit card scams, Amazon scams, you name it, Medicare scams. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at this point, he had asked her, okay, I need you to do one more thing. And he also had kind of the ammo of having naked pictures of her.
Yeah.
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 And so what? She said, no, we have to meet. And then what happened next?
Yeah. So after she kind of pulled the ace card, said, hey, I want to meet. I want to see you. She was actually going to fly out to Turkey and post bail. And I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. Good for you. Right.
Good for you.
Some of the things was, hey, I need you. It was a really big amount. It was like right about, a $50,000-$60,000 check. He wanted cash. He wanted her to do. If not, he was going to, and he showed her all the emails of our company, of everything. He's like, I'm going to send naked photos to all these people.
Oh my gosh.
And so then that's the cyber extortion, right? Now we start getting to the extortion. We start getting to the ransomware negotiation. And that's when she called me and said, hey, what do we do? And I said, well, if you don't care, then let the pictures go, and whatever happens, right? Because I dealt with another case, and the person that happened to, she actually just made fun of it, and there are naked pictures out about there, and she's like, it is what it is. You're gonna see him eventually. So, but this specific one, we actually wound up engaging with the threat actor. And the way you engage with the threat actor for ransomware negotiations is a very methodical process. It's a 6-part process, right? You have to understand before you even engage with them, you have to understand their tactics, their IOCs, their
What's
TTPs, indicators of compromise, like what do they use to penetrate your environment, right?
Okay.
And this was more so the physical element, the human element, which was a spear phishing, right?
Yeah.
So more susceptible. So, cybersecurity awareness, cyber awareness, and more specifically security awareness would have helped her, right?
Yeah. Well, and
then
for
you go
you can just like based on his tactics and what he's done, that gives you an idea too of how sophisticated that person is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It depends. Yeah, it depends on where they are in the kill chain, because in the kill chain you have 19 steps and 19 avenues you can attack somebody. Okay, and I don't make this up. This is a framework we all work off of.
Yeah. What's kill chain? So this
I'm
is like
super
this.
cool, but I don't have a kill chain in my back pocket.
Is kill chain like the scam process, basically?
No. So there's a organization out there, a nonprofit organization that actually created the cyber attack kill chain.
Oh.
And basically there's reconnaissance phase, infiltration phase,
Gotcha.
exfiltration, and it shows you each individual way how it's done. And so the premise behind it is not to give fuel to the bad guys, but it's actually to give education and awareness to the good guys. Yeah.
Okay. So you started talking to him. Was this through like her email? How do you do this?
Yeah, so I asked for the email, and then I also asked for a phone number, right?
Okay.
And
Were
so
they
what I did is I
texting
actually
as
went
well?
to I went to Walmart. I got myself a trace phone. And the reason I love trace phones is because the government actually has a back-end hook to their system, so they can subpoena the records all they want, right? So what I did is I got a trace phone. It was an iPhone. I just downloaded WhatsApp. All the ones we're used to, Telegram, Telegram, Voxer, whatever. The ones we know threat actors use. And I said, hey, would you please communicate with me on this channel?
Okay.
And so when we went to that channel, I was able to get a username. Right. Boom. So because threat actors, they hate sophisticating things. They like to streamline things. So immediately I said, okay, I searched and kind of did a dark web search on the user threat actor's name. And I was like, okay, now I know who this is.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep. And it was a mid-aged person in Hungary, Bulgaria, went back and forth. And their whole job, their whole life, they had spent time in jail before for, crime of fraud and scams, and they're just career criminals.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we started threat acting. We started doing the ransomware negotiation, and at first he was like, I want $1 million. I'm like, of course you want $1 million.
Of course.
This is how I know you're an amateur, right?
Yeah.
So you want $1 million, fantastic. And we said, well, what do you think you have? We're going through the phases of incident response, ransomware negotiation very rapidly. But, at the end of the day, it's like, you have to figure out how you're going to communicate with them, what tone. Remember, they're in the business of business, right? So we have to figure that out. And then, but the aspect of it is the proof of life. This is much like ransomware and hostage negotiation is the same thing. I need to know who I'm dealing with. Back in the day when I did one hostage negotiation, you had to ask, hey, show me the proof of life, show me the person still alive. This is no different. Show me the data that you think you have, and then we come to terms. This guy didn't have much. All he has is a bunch of naked photos. And I was like, okay. And then had maybe a credit card or two, which was, you're not going to attract FBI's attention. You're not going to attract local law enforcement or Interpol. So I was like, look, man, hey, but he did have some business information, some pretty intellectual, and the business impact, if he would have released it, would have made a massive mess, right?
Okay. So it was a big deal. It wasn't just like in the other case you said where the woman said, well, it's just, they're naked pictures. I don't want people to see them, but if they do, okay. In this case, it was a little different.
Yeah, this one was a little bit different.
Yeah.
That one I'll tell you a funny story on, but this one was like, hey, this is my reputation. This is my husband. My husband doesn't know I'm doing this. I was like,
Oh no.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
So the total payout was about $500,000.
Wow.
We negotiated down from $1 million to $100,000, and that's cash. That's not insurance covered. That's not.
Wow.
That's just pulling cash out. And pulling it through a tumbler, and also putting it through a crypto wallet and then another crypto wallet to break up the blockchain.
Right.
However, when we're following this, we actually did some blockchain forensics, and we're able to find out where it went. And at that point, we worked with the FBI and Interpol, and we're like, hey, let's go get our money. And so we did. It took us about 6 to 8 months, but because this person was involved in other major scams, like $10 million and above, they actually wound up attracting the attention of federal law enforcement.
So you were able to get the money back.
Yeah, a portion of the money back,
Wow.
right? So remember, whenever it goes through a tumbler, and whenever
Yeah.
it goes through a blockchain and this wallet, that wallet, you're going to, by attritional rate, you're going to lose percentages. So we're able to roughly get about $396,000.
Well, I mean, 100,000 is a lot better.
It's a hard lesson.
It is a huge lesson, right? At least it's not $1 million, though,
Yeah.
or her
Right.
entire reputation wrecked. I assume, like, how did the business ever find out about this, or was the whole point of having you on it is that they didn't have to?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So for somebody listening who's saying, Rico, I would never fall for that. Well, okay. What would you tell that person? And what do you wish this woman and, all the other people you talk to who get in situations like this, what do you wish that they knew?
Yeah, just be mindful, especially on LinkedIn, Instagram. It is what it is. Facebook, it is what it is. But LinkedIn, remember, somebody has an agenda, whether it's benevolent or malevolent, right? They have an agenda, whether it's a recruiter inundating you, like, hey, I have a job for you over here, which they never get right? On top of that, they're always, or what they're trying to do is like they want you to do a speaking engagement or something like that. Just be really, really mindful. Take the extra 3 to 4 seconds to look at those hyperlinks. Where's it really coming from? There's so many free tools out there that you can take the metadata from an email and just run it through and say, okay, that is from Turkey. That's from Bali. Like, I don't do business there. Why would I accept this?
Yeah. We'll talk later. I think we should gather some of these resources and we can put them up on Komando.com so that people can just know, like, hey, if I want to do a little more digging, how would I do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always big, especially, people who come from me from the Kim Komando show. I just happened to help somebody out a couple of days ago. Young lady in Atlanta, a very, very sweet person. She had a cyber stalker, and I was like, hey, before I even get started, I want to make sure that you have the tools, and let's go ahead and let's just work this. So I was spending about 3.5 hours a week with her for the last 6 weeks. Mind you, I didn't charge her. So I was like, hey, let's just figure this out. And unfortunately, I said, look, you're seeing the results that I'm seeing. I can't give you the results. I can't magically make them appear. Here's the best way to go. So sometimes the end result's just not fun, right?
Yeah. Well, and in this case, right, she had to pay all that money, and yeah, she got some of it back, but man, what a mess that I'm sure months and months and months of stress and panic and you name it.
Yeah, I'm very happy that there was no outside leakage of the incident. It just pertained to her, I, and the federal law enforcement and the attorney that was involved. And I hope the person learned a valuable lesson. Yeah,
For sure.
I hope so too. Yeah, it's hard to imagine she didn't. Okay, so the moral of the story here is if someone reaches out to you on LinkedIn, they have a motive, right? It might be a good motive, it might be a bad motive, but read it twice, read it with your most critical eye and try to decide, like, okay, is this legit? And then I guess if it turns into, you're so beautiful, that should send up your hackles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody on LinkedIn should be saying, hey, Rico, you have an amazing jiu-jitsu grab, right? Or anything like that, right? That's kind of weird. Like,
I'm actually going to get on LinkedIn, so I'm going to go send you that message right now. Okay, and then
Perfect.
the other big lesson, I think, don't send naked pictures. Probably just ever, right?
I would never recommend, especially on, those are private, right? You don't ever want to do that. One. Number two, being a digital forensics expert, we recover stuff, even if it's a thumbnail, like we recover it all the way back. I was able to recover stuff from 1998 at one point.
Wow.
And I was like, man, like the stuff you're going to see doesn't surprise me anymore because there's so much metadata everywhere that I would never recommend sending a naked picture, or even better yet, a video. A video is even worse.
Oof. Okay. All right. Noted. Everyone, note that, right? We're not going to send naked pictures. Good. All right, Rico, is there anything else that you want to share with us?
Just be mindful when you're out there, especially given the current circumstance in the world right now. You have a current war going on, so threat actors are on the heightened alert, and they're actually letting everybody have it. It doesn't matter whether you're Ukrainian, Russian, it doesn't matter. It's like everyone's getting it. So just be mindful of it. It is tax season coming up here real soon, so you can see a lot of invoice tax season coming up as well. Dating apps, just be mindful of those. And then LinkedIn, please just be mindful of those.
All right. Thanks for the advice. And as always, wonderful to talk with you.
Rock and roll. Thanks, guys.
All right. Next up, Matt has that riddle answer that we've been waiting for. And we're going to talk about a few things that our generation, millennials, are the last to experience. Don't worry. It's going to make you nostalgic, even if you're not a millennial. That's coming up here on Tech Refresh. Welcome back to Tech Refresh. This has been a big episode.
Yeah.
Asteroids and football and naked pictures.
Oof.
Before, oh my. Before we get to the riddle, Matt, it's time to put on your Internet Scout hat.
Yeah.
What are we talking about this week?
I saw a few of these articles that were talking about how when millennials die, there will be some memories that die with them. And as the
How grim.
I know. As your designated millennial, I kind of read through this and I was like, oh man, that is really true. So I wanted to go through some of these and we can talk about them. It's pretty sad.
Okay.
The very first one, a memory of the world without the internet. I remember being a kid and there was, you had no internet. My dad had a computer, but I had CD discs that I would put in and play a game on the computer, but it didn't even have internet on it, right?
Yeah. So these are things that basically millennials are going to be the last generation or are the last generation to have experienced these.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, everyone listening remembers a life without internet. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the second is the memory of a 56K modem booting up. Do you remember that sound?
Of course I remember that sound.
I remember trying to sneak onto the internet after my parents would go to bed and being trying to cover it with my arms and make sure no one could hear it. They always heard it. It was nothing.
Remember the just massive stacks of AOL discs everywhere? That reminds me of that too.
I don't think we got internet, actual broadband internet until 2002 because all we would do is get the box of cereal with the AOL disc in it.
They were in everything.
Everything.
You could go get a burger and you look in your bag and there's 8 AOL discs in there.
They're just giving them away.
Yeah.
The next one is knowing what a floppy disk is.
Today's kids don't use floppy disks?
Oh, no. I remember my cousins, when I would go over to their house, they would have these boxes and you would open up this big plastic box and there would just be rows and rows and rows of floppy disks with games on them that were 2-bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
That is nostalgic. They were primary colors. And,
exactly.
Yeah, I miss those.
Next one is having to remember somebody's phone number.
Whoa.
I know. I still remember my childhood best friend's home phone number. It's still in here. It's still in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know many phone numbers now?
I know my parents' phone number for emergencies.
For emergencies. Do you know your fiance's phone number?
I do not, actually. I really don't. But it's on my dog's collar, so I always know that if he's with me, I got her number.
Okay, so you either have to have your phone or your dog, and then you can contact your fiance.
Exactly.
I think you should take on a project to memorize her phone number.
I probably should.
Yeah, just in case. Okay.
All right, and the final one is a two-parter. Waiting for your favorite song to come on the radio and trying to press record right as it comes on.
So you could have a copy of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Or even calling to request a song on the radio.
Oh, yeah. Just so you could record it so you could have it on a tape.
Yeah, of them saying your name on the radio.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we know radio is still alive and well. So you can call the radio anytime. Talk to Kim.
There you go.
Probably requesting a song won't get you very far, though, if you call Kim. What about... remember the feeling of getting a new stack of blank CDs to burn music onto?
Burning CDs for all your friends of 6 Linkin Park songs.
Yeah, I remember it going from okay, here's my tapes.
Yeah.
And then it was, here's my stack of CDs.
Yep.
And then you got that big binder.
Oh yeah,
right?
that you kept in your car at all times, right?
Sure, with all your CDs and maybe the books and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then slowly over time it became more just silver disc that you had written a name on.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Or it'd be Matt's Mega Mix, and that would be what I give to everybody.
Oh, Matt's Mega Mix. Well, hopefully we're all feeling a little nostalgic now. Yeah, I know I am.
Me too.
It is finally time, the riddle. Matt, okay, you got to tell one more time.
I will.
Okay.
What is seen in the middle of March and April that can't be seen at the beginning or end of either month?
The beginning of March and April.
What is seen in the middle
Oh, the middle,
of
the middle.
March and April that can't be seen at the beginning or end of either month?
Okay. I don't think you're testing our knowledge of like agriculture or something, plants. I think it's something like 15, like the middle of the month. I'm going to go with that.
It's the letter R. March, April.
Very good.
I thought so too.
Yeah, very good. See, it's not just tech tips you can use here. You just got a riddle that
There
you
you
can
go.
fool everyone in your life with. And hopefully you fool them all, just like I got fooled. Of course, it wouldn't be Tech Refresh if we didn't finish with a joke. So I've got a short one this week. Short and sweet. Why do ducks have feathers?
Why?
To cover their butt quacks. Sorry, my first story just really inspired that one.
That was
Couldn't help
good.
it.
I loved it.
All right, we always like to wrap up with one thing we want you to take away from the podcast. So Matt, you go first.
You know, this NASA mission was really, really cool. One of the coolest things about it is that they have the video of the satellite crashing into the planet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put that up over at komando.com. Go over and check it out. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. It is. All right, my advice, go over to komando.com. So Tech Refresh only happens once a week, but we are writing tech news, smart tips, all kinds of great stuff 7 days a week. So go over to the website, and at the top, there's a button that says Get Newsletters. If you click that, pick a couple. Matt, which one do you recommend people start with?
You know, my favorite is the Great Stuff newsletter. If you like cool apps, cool games, little tricks to use in Excel or Word, this is the newsletter for you.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm going to say sign up for The Current. It comes out twice a week. It's an awesome newsletter. It kind of really reminds me of this podcast. We have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. For Matt, I am Allie. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.